What happens when the quiet halls of your own home become the setting for a forbidden romance? I found myself dangerously drawn to the one person I shouldn't want, my stepson. An unspoken tension erupted into a passionate affair, a secret that could shatter our family. We risked it all for stolen moments, but how long before a secret this explosive blows up? Hi everyone, I'm Jessica, the storyteller on the Adult Women's Tales channel. Here, I'll share stories about love, conflicts, betrayal, and infidelity within American families. These stories offer a deep look into relationships and the challenges families face. Stay tuned and explore with me. If you love emotional stories and want to uncover the hidden secrets in families, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our videos. Hi, I'm Logan, 19 years young, and on a journey to discover my path in life. I share my home with my father, Thomas, an architect constantly immersed in his work, balancing one project after the next. Growing up, I experienced the profound loss of my mom at a young age, which meant that for the majority of my life, it was just my dad and me navigating the world together. A few years ago, everything shifted when he tied the knot again. Amelia is her name, and she defies every expectation I had of a stepmother. She's youthful, insightful, and truly embodies the essence of a real mom for me. Recently, the situation has become more complex. Allow me to share the moment when everything transformed. Don't miss out. Subscribe to my channel to stay updated on these captivating real-life stories I'm excited to share. Be sure to catch this video. It's going to be a thrilling experience. It began on a serene, unremarkable day. With my dad off to work and Amelia out tackling her errands, I found myself home alone. I was accustomed to it by now, so it didn't bother me. I dedicated the day to lounging in my room, comfortably sprawled out while scrolling through my phone. The house was enveloped in a stillness that felt unsettling, and the eerie silence lingered, refusing to be ignored. Fresh from the shower, droplets glistening on my skin, I reclined on my bed, completely engrossed in my phone. It was then that I caught the gentle sound of a knock at the door. Surprise! I didn't see that coming. My heart raced, and I instinctively reached for my shirt, only to pause in uncertainty. Who might it be? Just as I was about to respond, the door let out a haunting creak as it swung open. Amelia stood in the doorway, her gaze fixed on mine with an intensity I had never experienced before. She sported a relaxed look in a cozy light sweater paired with jeans, her dark hair cascading effortlessly over her shoulders. She appeared hesitant, as though she was anticipating something. I was utterly blindsided. Apologies slipped from her lips in a soft whisper. Her voice carried a gentle softness, yet there was an unexpected depth to it that caught my attention. I preferred not to intrude. I swiftly reached for my shirt, eager to put it on, but the look on her face halted me in my tracks. She remained calm and composed. She simply gazed at me. Her gaze held steady. In that instant, it seemed as though everything transformed. "Amelia," I whispered, my heart racing. I was caught off guard by the unexpected visitor. Initially, there was no response from her. She entered the room with a deliberate grace, as if the atmosphere between us had transformed. As she advanced another step closer, I found myself frozen, my heart pounding in my chest. I experienced a sense of vulnerability that extended beyond the physical realm, touching my emotional core as well. My mind was in overdrive. Is an apology necessary? Request her to depart. Just as I was about to take action, she interrupted me once more. "You really should have locked the door," she remarked. Her voice was soft, yet it carried an intriguing undertone. I was at a loss for words. Her presence was utterly captivating. An unmistakable tension lingered between us, an enigma I couldn't quite articulate. She stood so near that I could sense the warmth radiating from her body. The experience was truly overwhelming. I had the urge to speak, yet found myself unable to do so. In that moment, my hand moved toward hers, a subtle tremor coursing through me. She remained close, her eyes locked onto mine, conveying a sense of unspoken consent. It felt as though she was anticipating my cue to take the lead. I took a step forward. My body acted independently. Her gaze was unwavering, locked onto mine. As I reached out and caressed her face, my fingers glided over her velvety skin. Our bond was unmistakable, the atmosphere thick with anticipation. As I leaned in, poised for the kiss, the sudden echo of footsteps in the hallway abruptly interrupted the moment. Amelia swiftly retreated, her cheeks tinged with color. "We can't," she murmured. "This is incorrect." I stood still, my heart racing. She was right, and we both knew it, but I couldn't ignore my feelings. There was a shift in our dynamic, and I found it increasingly difficult to act as if nothing had occurred. Just as I was about to speak, she shot a quick look at the door and then turned her gaze back to me. "We'll talk later," she said swiftly, before pivoting and departing, her footsteps gradually diminishing down the corridor. I was frozen in disbelief, struggling to comprehend the events that had just unfolded. A sense of relief washed over me, yet a deeper urge stirred within, compelling me to pursue her and unravel the meaning behind it all. The following days crept along at a snail's pace, enveloping me in a thick haze. Amelia was constantly on my mind. The event that transpired was far more than a mere passing instant. There was an undeniable intensity in the way her eyes locked onto mine, a palpable shift as her breathing quickened. Being close to each other made everything feel undeniably real. The most challenging aspect was the inability to share my feelings with anyone. My friends just wouldn't get it, and my dad certainly wouldn't either. Amelia remained my stepmother, and we both understood the gravity of the situation. The tension between us was undeniable. I attempted to create some space, convincing myself it was merely a fleeting moment of vulnerability, something we would both eventually move past. Yet each time I caught a glimpse of her, I couldn't help but notice how her gaze seemed to hold on just a moment longer, as if she were anticipating something. One evening, after dinner, my dad was running late at work. As I lounged on the couch, channel surfing, Amelia strolled in. She donned a cozy, oversized sweater paired with leggings, her hair effortlessly pulled back into a sleek ponytail. She appeared transformed, a bit removed, yet undeniably more vibrant. "Hey," she said, taking a seat beside me. "Would you mind if I joined you?" My heart pounded in my chest, yet I focused on maintaining my composure. "Absolutely not," I responded, my voice revealing my anxiety. She nestled in beside me, our shoulders brushing against each other. The warmth of her body enveloped me, and I struggled to push aside the memory of that moment in my room. We lingered in silence for a moment, yet the atmosphere around us buzzed with unexpressed thoughts. She then spoke in a soft voice, reflecting on that day. I felt a wave of tension wash over me, uncertain if I was truly prepared for this discussion. "Amelia," I said, making an effort to keep my voice steady, "I'm unsure about what transpired. I'm uncertain about the reasons behind our—" As she interrupted me, her hand brushed against mine. The sensation was charged, akin to a spark dancing in the atmosphere. Her fingers lingered, gliding along the contours of my arm. "I understand it's difficult," she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. "I just can't shake it from my mind. Let's talk about you, Logan." My heart raced, a buzzing echoing in my ears. It was the first time I had ever heard her express something like that. It was as though time stood still, creating a world for just the two of us. As I gazed at her, I noticed a flicker of vulnerability in her eyes for the very first time. She felt the same turmoil I did, perhaps even more intensely, yet beneath it all lay a profound yearning, an undeniable desire that demanded attention. "Amelia," I spoke, my voice quivering. "I'm feeling uncertain about my next steps. This feeling is unfamiliar, yet you occupy my thoughts constantly." She leaned in, her lips nearly grazing my ear. "We can't continue to ignore the reality of this situation," she whispered. Perhaps. I was at a loss for words. I felt the urge to step back and express that this was wrong, yet deep down, I realized I didn't truly want to. I couldn't bring myself to ignore my emotions. Before I had the chance to utter another word, she bridged the gap between us, pressing her lips to mine softly at first. The kiss was the softest and most tentative I had ever felt. I stood motionless, my entire being locked in place as the world around me faded away. I leaned in and kissed her, my hands finding her waist as I drew her nearer. The kiss intensified, the electric tension between us palpable in the atmosphere. Her lips exuded warmth and softness, igniting an indescribable longing within me, a profound desire to draw nearer, to immerse myself completely in the moment. In an instant, she recoiled, her eyes filled with alarm. "This isn't possible, Logan," she whispered. "That's not right." I was at a loss for words. A part of me recognized her truth, yet another part remained indifferent. The desire for her was an insatiable force I couldn't resist. "Amelia," I said, my voice dropping to a whisper, "your presence is all that matters to me." Her eyes met mine, a gentle warmth flickering within them, yet in an instant she averted her gaze. Her face was a canvas of regret. "I can't," she said, her voice trembling. "I can't put your father or you through this." I got it, but that didn't simplify things at all. My desire for her was overwhelming, yet the thought of crossing that line filled me with dread. She sprang to her feet, her fingers racing through her hair in a frantic motion. "We need to stop," she declared with conviction. "This must not occur again." In an instant, she was gone, leaving me solitary in the stillness of the living room. My heart raced, and my thoughts whirled from the whirlwind of events that had just unfolded. The silence was overwhelming. I remained motionless, attempting to absorb everything happening around me. A part of me felt the urge to chase after Amelia for a conversation, yet deep down I recognized it was a mistake. It was on my mind constantly. The kiss, the sensation of her nestled in my embrace, the heat radiating from her body to mine. The allure was undeniable, yet the nagging guilt lingered in the background. I had always held my father in high regard, placing my trust in him, and now I found myself on the brink of committing the ultimate betrayal. I attempted to divert my attention, but it proved to be futile. Whenever I encountered Amelia, I experienced that familiar pull, that undeniable connection. It transcended the physical realm. It was an overwhelming sensation, an inescapable pull that captivated every fiber of my being, despite my awareness of its wrongness. A few days later, I found myself in the kitchen, whipping up a delicious breakfast. The house lay in serene silence, with the only sound being the delightful sizzle of bacon cooking in the pan. I hadn't laid eyes on Amelia just yet, but I was certain she'd be joining us shortly. My heart raced at the mere thought of her. No matter how hard I tried to push the thoughts away, they stubbornly lingered. The memories of our kiss and the emotions that surged when she was close were simply overpowering. As I arranged the plates on the table, I suddenly heard footsteps approaching from behind. As I pivoted, my gaze fell upon Amelia framed in the doorway. Her flowing dark hair cascaded over her shoulders, perfectly complementing her laid-back blouse and jeans ensemble. To me, she radiated an undeniable glow. "Good morning," she whispered softly, yet an underlying tension in her tone mirrored the unease brewing within me. "Good morning," I responded, making an effort to maintain my composure, even as my heart raced. She approached, her gaze darting to the food on the table before locking onto mine once more. After a weighty silence, she began to speak once more. "You're avoiding me," she said, her voice barely rising above a whisper. It came across not as a question, but rather as an accusation. I stood still, paralyzed. Was it really that clear? I had been steering clear of her. "I'm not avoiding you," I whispered, yet deep down, I was fully aware that I was. Meeting her gaze felt nearly impossible after all that had transpired. Yet deep down, I yearned to reach out to her, to rekindle that connection once more. As she stepped closer, the delicate aroma of her jasmine perfume enveloped me. It left me utterly bewildered. "You know this is wrong," she whispered, her voice barely above a murmur. "We can't continue down this path, Logan." I felt the urge to respond, to express that I couldn't suppress my emotions any longer, that I was done resisting. Instead, I found myself standing there completely frozen. I found myself caught in a struggle between my moral compass and my deepest desire, a longing that eclipsed everything else. "I don't know how to stop," I confessed, my voice barely rising above a whisper. The words escaped my lips before I had a chance to stop them. Amelia's expression softened, yet a profound sadness lingered in her eyes, a depth I had never encountered before. Her hand brushed against mine, a gentle connection that sparked something deeper. The sensation ignited a surge of feelings within me. "You need to stop, Logan," she said softly, her gaze probing into mine. "This goes beyond just us. It concerns your father. It's all about what we've created together. Are you truly ready to eliminate that?" Her words struck me with the force of a punch to the gut. It was the first moment I truly understood what was on the line. The man who has always stood by my side, my father, who dedicated so much effort for us, how could I have done this to him? Even then, the attraction I felt for Amelia remained strong. It lingered, compelling me to surrender. "I'm not sure I can," I replied, my voice laced with bitterness. "I'm at a loss for how to change these feelings I have for you." Amelia inhaled deeply, letting her hand fall to her side. "You must," she insisted. "For you, for me, and for your father." Her words hit me like a splash of cold water, jolting me into the stark reality of my actions. I realized I couldn't continue pursuing something that was never destined for me. I realized I couldn't jeopardize everything for a brief encounter of desire. "I don't want to hurt anyone," I said, my voice trembling with feeling. "I'm at a loss for what to do next." "You don't need to do anything," Amelia said gently. "Simply release it." "It's time to release it." Her words sliced through the palpable tension, and at last, clarity dawned on me. I found myself at a critical crossroads, teetering on the brink of a choice that could jeopardize it all. I was unable to do that, neither to my father, nor to her, nor to myself. I nodded, my heart weighed down with sorrow. "Okay," I murmured, "we'll pause. It's time to put a halt to this." As I gazed into her eyes, it was clear that we both understood this wasn't truly the conclusion. The emotions lingered on. The allure would remain, poised for our moment of weakness. In that instant, it became clear to me that if we didn't halt our actions immediately, we would be unable to rectify the chaos we were on the brink of unleashing. I wasn't prepared to carry that burden of regret. Welcome back to Real Confession Stories, where we dive into another captivating tale of desire and unforeseen bonds. If you find these captivating stories engaging, be sure to subscribe to our channel. I'm Sarah, 42 years young, navigating the unexpected journey of being a stepmother, something I never imagined I'd experience. My husband John is a dedicated businessman, constantly engaged with his phone or immersed in his tasks. Although I appreciate his commitment, it frequently results in feelings of neglect and loneliness for me. As the weeks stretched into months, I found myself yearning for connection and intimacy, desiring the warmth that was gradually fading from our relationship. I frequently pondered ways to reignite the passion in my life. The nights echoed with a profound emptiness as John's footsteps faded into his office, leaving me in the stillness of what was once a vibrant home. I longed for the exhilaration of romance, the warmth of tender embraces, and the rush of being wanted. Don't miss out. Subscribe to my channel to enjoy more enthralling real stories just like this one. Be sure to catch this video. It's bound to be thrilling. My mind frequently wandered to my stepson Ryan, a striking 24-year-old who had just returned home after completing his college education. Ryan had consistently shown politeness and respect, yet the chemistry between us was impossible to ignore. He had blossomed into a dynamic young man, and I found myself sneaking glances at him, my heart racing each time our eyes locked. Despite knowing it was wrong, the harder I attempted to suppress these feelings, the more intense they grew. After a long day of anticipation for John's return, I finally made the decision to switch up my outfit. Just as I was about to slip into a luxurious silk robe, my gaze fell upon my reflection in the mirror. I let out a deep sigh, reminiscing about the times when I felt truly desirable and beautiful. I made my way to the bedroom, my mind swirling with possibilities, when out of nowhere, I heard the unmistakable sound of a door creaking open. Ryan was home unexpectedly. "Hey, Sarah," he remarked with a casual tone, a radiant smile illuminating his features. My heart raced as I hurriedly reached for the robe to cover myself, but it was already too late. Ryan's eyes grew wide as he caught sight of me. "Apologies, I didn't intend to cut in," he murmured, his eyes holding mine just a beat longer than required. "It's all right," I said, making an effort to remain composed. I was simply in the process of changing. My cheeks flushed with warmth. We found ourselves enveloped in an uncomfortable silence. The atmosphere was charged with unexpressed tension. There was a palpable change between us, an undeniable spark that demanded attention. Ryan shifted his weight, his gaze flickering toward me as if he were weighing his options. "I think it's time for me to head out," he finally remarked, taking a step back toward the door. "Hold on," I shouted. My voice hovered just above a whisper. "There's no need to go. Let's have a conversation." He paused, his gaze probing into mine. The undeniable desire bubbling just below the surface urged me to seize the moment and take a leap of faith. "Ryan, I've been experiencing a sense of loneliness recently. Being here without John is truly challenging. I understand that our connection isn't as strong as it has the potential to be." "I understand," he said softly. It felt unusual, considering he was typically swamped with tasks. I inhaled deeply, summoning my courage. "How about we carve out some time for just the two of us?" To my astonishment, a grin blossomed on his face. "That sounds great," he replied. Compelled by an unseen energy, I found myself gravitating toward him. We closed the gap until we were mere inches away from each other. The warmth emanating from his body was palpable, a magnetic chemistry sparking between us. "Ryan, I must speak candidly. I found myself thinking about you more than I ought to," I admitted, gazing into his eyes. "Me too," he confessed, moving in closer, his voice laced with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. In that instant, every fear dissipated, and I moved closer, sealing our lips together. The kiss began cautiously, yet swiftly evolved into something more passionate, sparking a flame within me that had long been dormant. His hands gripped my waist, drawing me nearer as we surrendered to the moment, completely immersed in one another. As we finally separated, I gazed into his eyes and recognized that familiar blend of exhilaration and apprehension. "We're truly embarking on this journey," I breathed out, filled with excitement. "Absolutely," he asserted with conviction. "This is what I desire, Sarah. I've desired you for quite a while now." Those words ignited a newfound boldness within me. I gently pulled back and took his hand, guiding him toward the bed. It was a surreal moment, and I was fully prepared to embrace it. Perched on the edge of the bed, I leaned in, drawing closer. Our lips connected once more, this time with greater urgency. Ryan's hands glided over my body, tracing every curve as I surrendered to his touch. The intensity between us surged, igniting a flame I hadn't experienced in ages. "Let's unleash our desires," I murmured, my breath hitching. I declared, fueled by a newfound bravery. With a nod, he leaned in once more, capturing my lips in a deep kiss. His body pressed against mine, radiating heat and desire. My hands glided over his chest, sensing the solid muscles hidden beneath his shirt. The desire for something greater ignited a thrilling excitement within me. With a deliberate motion, I guided him back onto the bed, positioned myself over him, and pressed my lips against his with a fervent intensity. He gazed up at me, his eyes sparkling with astonishment and thrill. "I never saw this coming," he whispered, his hands firmly holding my hips. "Neither did I responded, my voice gentle and filled with fervor, yet it felt too delightful to halt at this moment. With each kiss, I sensed his every touch igniting a spark within him. We moved together as one. I started to glide my hands beneath his shirt, discovering the contours of his toned stomach, savoring the warmth of his skin. A soft moan escaped his lips, and the sound sent a thrilling shiver down my spine. "Wow, Sarah, you're absolutely amazing," he murmured. His hands glided over my back, drawing me nearer as I leaned into him. The way he gazed at me ignited a fire within, boosting my confidence with the undeniable desire reflected in his eyes. "I yearn to feel you," I murmured, my voice thick with desire. "Let's not waste any more time," he stated decisively. His hands grasped the hem of my robe and ripped it apart, leaving me breathless at the thrill of being exposed before him. "You're beautiful," he whispered, leaning in to kiss my collarbone, igniting a spark within me. The warmth enveloped me, and I embraced the bliss of the experience. His hands explored my body, awakening every nerve ending as he kissed my neck, sending ripples of pleasure coursing through me. I sighed gently, leaning into him as he pressed his lips along my skin. I craved more, my body yearning for his touch. With a surge of confidence, Ryan positioned himself, his hands firmly grasping my waist as he effortlessly flipped us over, securing me against the bed. His eyes glimmered with playful intent and longing as he drew closer for another kiss, enveloping my lips with intensity. His weight pressed into me, and each moment crackled with electricity. We became completely immersed in one another, the external world dissolving as we delved into our deepest desires. The atmosphere was charged with gentle murmurs and the rhythm of our bodies entwined, every caress and kiss more exhilarating than the one before. In that moment of connection, a wave of liberation washed over me, a feeling I hadn't known in years. As the intensity faded, we nestled together, savoring the moment and regaining our breath. As I gazed into Ryan's eyes, a wave of joy and excitement washed over me, a sensation I hadn't experienced in ages. Just as I started to unwind, the doorbell chimed, abruptly interrupting my serene moment. "What was that all about?" I inquired, my heart racing as the weight of our predicament settled in. "It's likely your husband," Ryan exclaimed, his eyes filled with alarm. John was expected to be away for a few more hours. "I'm just taking it easy," I said, managing a smile and attempting to seem composed. "What about you?" As always, he responded with a weary sigh. I decided to pause for a moment and enjoy some quality time with you. I nodded, caught in a whirlwind of guilt and excitement. Ryan's presence hung in the air, a palpable warmth that echoed the excitement of our shared moments. I set those thoughts aside while attempting to engage with John, who appeared unaware of the tension lingering in the air between us. As the night unfolded, John and I nestled into the couch, engaging in light-hearted conversation. Yet my mind continually wandered back to Ryan and the undeniable spark we had just experienced. Every thought sent my heart racing, sparking an undeniable fire within me that demanded attention. A few days later, as John headed out for yet another late-night meeting, I found myself once again alone at home. Thoughts of our last encounter flooded my mind. I longed for the intensity of being desired, for the thrill of truly living. I chose to indulge in a long, soothing bath to melt away the tension, with the hope that it would quiet my racing thoughts. I set the mood with flickering candles and filled the tub with soothing warm water, allowing the steam to wrap around me as I indulged in a relaxing soak. As I lay there, my mind drifted back to Ryan. His hands, the way he understood every curve of my body, the fire ignited by his kisses. It was utterly captivating. A wave of nostalgia washed over me, and it became clear that I had to reconnect with him. A gentle knock echoed softly at the door. My heart raced as I swiftly wrapped myself in a towel, then opened the door to find Ryan standing there, a playful grin lighting up his face. "Hey," he said, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "I hope I'm not causing any disruption." "Absolutely not," I responded. My heart raced at the sight of him, so suddenly there. "Step right in." As he stepped into the bathroom, a wave of exhilaration washed over me at the thought of having him near once more. The water danced around us as I surrendered to him. His hands gripped my waist, drawing me nearer as I wove my fingers through his hair. The kisses intensified, brimming with longing and passion as we surrendered to the moment. The warmth of his body pressed against mine ignited a blaze that coursed through my veins. "You're even more beautiful than I remember," Ryan murmured softly against my lips. His breath caressed my skin with warmth. With a grin, I embraced a sense of playfulness. With each encounter, your allure only grows stronger. Embracing my newfound confidence, I leaned into him, guiding him back against the tub as I straddled him, our bodies connecting intimately. The water danced around us, yet I was completely absorbed in the feeling of his skin against mine. "Sarah," he whispered, his voice thick with desire. "This is something I've longed for more than you can imagine." "Show me," I said with fervor, leaning in for another kiss. This time, the experience was heightened. We flowed in harmony, our bodies entwined as the surrounding water faded into a dreamlike haze. His hands explored my body, following every curve as I surrendered to his touch. The excitement of being near him sent a rush through me, awakening every sense in my body. I reclined just a bit, allowing him to press his lips against my neck, relishing the sensation of his touch on my skin. "God," Ryan groaned, his hands gently cradling my face. His thumbs glided over my cheeks as he drew me in for another passionate kiss. The intensity surged between us, an undeniable magnetism pulling us nearer, compelling us to delve deeper. The water enveloped us in a dreamy haze as we intertwined, completely absorbed in the intensity of the moment. My hands roamed his body, caressing his shoulders and trailing down his arms as he intensified our kiss. Each movement ignited the fire of desire between us, and in that moment, I was overwhelmed by a wave of daring confidence. "Let's take it to the next level," I murmured, my heart racing at the mere idea. "Are you sure?" he asked, his voice heavy with longing. "I've never felt more certain about anything in my life," I responded, my heart pounding with excitement. In that moment, we united our movements. The inviting warmth of the water enveloped us, surrendering to the intensity of our passions. We drew near, our bodies entwined in a fleeting moment of intense desire. As the passion heightened, our breaths intertwined, and we surrendered to the ecstasy of our connection. In that moment, time lost its grip as we embraced our desires, discovering every contour of one another and basking in the deepening warmth of our bond. As the water around us began to cool, we slowly drifted apart, locking our eyes in a lingering gaze. I felt a surge of energy, truly alive in a manner I hadn't felt in years. Just as we started to unwind, the unmistakable sound of the front door reverberated throughout the house. We shared anxious looks. "It's John's home," I exclaimed, a wave of panic surging through me. "We need to get out of here. Hurry!" Ryan urged, scrambling out of the bath. We swiftly dried ourselves and slipped into our clothes. The atmosphere was charged as we struggled to regain our composure. As I put the finishing touches on my hair, John's voice rang out to me once more. "Sarah, I'm back," he exclaimed. "It's time to find a place to conceal ourselves." Ryan urged, casting a quick look at the door. I nodded, and together we plunged into the closet. Our hearts raced at the sound of John stepping into the bathroom. We stood together in the shadows. As we stood together, our breaths intertwined, we awaited the moment when the tension would finally ease. As John stood at the sink, washing his hands, he remained blissfully unaware of the turmoil brewing just beyond the walls of his own home. "How did your day go, Sarah?" he inquired nonchalantly. "Simply unwinding," I responded, my heart pounding as I shared a tense look with Ryan. After a few tense moments, John emerged from the bathroom and we collectively exhaled in relief. "That was a near miss." Ryan leaned in, his eyes sparkling with anticipation. I couldn't help but shake my head in disbelief as I replied, "I can hardly wrap my head around the fact that we just as I was about to speak, he leaned in and kissed me softly, evoking the excitement of our recent adventure. "We can't stop now," he urged, his voice low and compelling. "The journey starts here." Once more, my heart raced, torn between the thrill of our hidden connection and the truth of my life with John. Yet, beneath the surface, I understood that no matter what unfolded between Ryan and me, I was powerless to resist. I was prepared to welcome this new chapter, no matter where it may take us. As we emerged from the closet, the atmosphere crackled with tension, charged with endless possibilities. We were acutely aware that our lives had irrevocably changed. The allure of the forbidden lingered, and I was prepared to plunge headfirst into this unforeseen romance regardless of the consequences. That's it for today's story. If you found it moving, don't forget to share the video with your friends and family. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.